We're travelling by bus today to Segovia. I would normally prefer to travel by train if there is one. There's a standard ticketing system from one ticket window. You are dropped at a station from which you are reasonably certain that that's where the train will depart from. They can't shift the station while you're away. You travel by bus, even if there's a bus station, you've got to decide which window to go to, which company runs your trip. If there's a bus station at the other end, that's fair enough, but you may get dropped in the street, and where do you get picked up from that night? Even if you board the bus to return with a return ticket, which I did today, you could be told, and was told, to go to the ticket office to get the ticket stamped or something, knowing full well that if you weren't back quick enough, the bus would go without you. Anyway, having got that out of the way, there are three main reasons to go to Segovia, and Segovia, unlike Palencia, is a tourist attraction. The three things are the cathedral, the castle, and the aqueduct. We've made a fairly early start today, as you may have gathered from the pictures. It's fairly misty in places, and one of these little villages we go through was called Portillo. Don't know if that's where it comes from. Anyway, we're very shortly, and there it is, going to get our first glimpse of Segovia. And here we are arriving at the bus station. Now, I could have walked from the bus station down that street there towards the castle, cathedral, etc. But I was advised to walk the other way and walk down a road on the other side of the valley, so that we would get these views of the town itself on this high ridge. And on the whole, it was certainly worthwhile. It was quite a drag around this place. Nobody else seemed to have had the advice to do so, or if they did, they were doing it by car. Anyway, there's our first view of the castle. Now, this castle, as we call it, was either copied from the castles in Walt Disney films or vice versa. There you are. There's a pretty good impression of a Walt Disney castle. That man there mending the road, who I asked where was Veracruz, is a Russian. Well, I've just asked somebody else, and it's down this way. Up to the semaphore, I want to turn left. But just before that is the sepulchre of San Juan de la Cruz, which is actually a Carmelite convent. And there's our first sight of the Church of Veracruz, if we can get past this dog. Incidentally, I think these must be the much advertised walls of the convent we've just been in. It was originally called Santo Sepulchro, which had Holy Sepulchre, because of its resemblance to that church in Jerusalem. If I can describe the church, there's a walkway running round the inside of the outer walls, and in the centre is this construction consisting of an upper chamber and a lower chamber. The stairs there just to the left lead to the upper chamber, and the lower chamber is accessed via this doorway here. We're inside the central block now. and we're now in the upper chamber looking through one of the portals to the main altar. I think these chaps whose portraits are here are commanders of the Order of Malta rather than the Knights Templar. When first constructed in the 13th century by the Knights Templar, it was called the Church of Spirito Santo. But when Honorius III gave them a piece of the True Cross, its name was changed to Veracruz. Now, as it says here, if I can be heard above the sparrows, the Templars disappeared in 1312 and the Church of the True Cross was handed over to the Order of St. John of Jerusalem until the 17th century. It was then totally abandoned for a long period. The church is Romanesque, built on 12 sides. The tower is a later addition. This is the only 12-sided church built by the Templars known to remain. On the east side are the typical Romanesque apses, a larger one in the centre, flanked by two small ones. Now I must try and find my way up to the castle there somehow. A kind gentleman down there showed me some steps I could climb up. And here's some more. But we decided that this was the least difficult. Yes, a bit more yet. Yes, a bit more yet. Bit more yet. Now that's where we were, the Church of the True Cross in the middle, the convent just to the left of it, and on the hill at the top is the village of Zamarilla, in whose parish church the piece of the True Cross now is. And looking the other way, that is the cathedral there, of course, and this is the road we set off on so many hours ago, and of course it's all been terribly worthwhile. Anyway, let's have a look now inside the castle, or Alcazar as it is called. Ironically, this castle is just about as big a sham as Walt Disney's castle is, really, because it was totally burned down in about 1862 and totally rebuilt, very much like Carcassonne. Oh, there we are. More interesting from the outside, actually.